And Flo Villemino joins us on set for the international papers. You're reacting to the arrest of one of the world's most notorious drug gang leaders in Mexico.
That's right. It's getting a lot of attention in the press, especially the Mexican press, which looks at this Miguel Ángel Trevino Morales, the head of the Zetas cartel. Now, according to El Universal, his name was a synonym with terror among all drug lords, and El Universal looks into more detail, and he was really infamous for his brutality. He was known as Z40, and he was wanted on both sides of the border for ordering massacres and running this global drugs network. So El Universal looks at his rise within the cartel and then his ultimate fall. But other papers are also looking at this. For instance, The Guardian says that this capture is a major success for Mexico's new government. It's seen as the end of the road for this cartel boss, but does that mean that this will be the end of the killings? Well, The Guardian says that's unlikely. You can't really expect an end to the violence just because you've taken out one kingpin. And why is this? Well, it's simply because of supply and demand. Other cartels are going to fill his shoes. And actually, if we look at The Independent, they took a look at other Mexican gangs and the drug gangs in general. You can see that map there, which shows just where they are, and also these figures. For instance, 60,000. That's the number of people who are thought to have been killed in Mexico since the beginning of the drugs war in 2006, and $13 billion. That's the estimate annual value of the drugs trade in Mexico.
Going to go a little bit north now to the US. The Zimmerman trial continuing to grab headlines, isn't it?
That's right. And a lot of papers are focusing on the jury, including Slate. They're taking a look at one member of the jury, and they're calling it the strange case of juror B37. So, who is B37? B37 is one of the women that was on this jury, and Slate actually analyzes a video of this juror, well, an anonymous juror that was originally revealed in Gawker. Now, the video shows a voir dire, so that's when the process when the attorneys question the prospective jurors to know if they're suitable. And Slate says, well, it's quite odd, according to certain things that this juror said. For instance, she called Martin a boy of color, said that his killing was an unfortunate incident that happened, but also they say that a lot of the things that she revealed in this video just seemed to make her appear like an eccentric attention seeker. And in fact, just 2 days after the verdict, she actually signed a literary agent to shop her book on the trial. So Slate wonders, why on earth was she allowed on this jury? But there's an interesting article, this time on a blog for Fox News, written by Tamara Holder. She's the Fox News legal analyst, who says, stop insulting the Zimmerman jury. Both the defendants and the prosecutors accepted this jury. They all acted according to the rules. So what's the big deal here? And in fact, this blog accuses critics of being actually quite sexist because all the members of this jury were female.
Now, The Independent has a different story, really, about a somewhat famous woman in Sweden who is apparently considering a career change.
That's right. Yeah, this might ring a bell if you remember these very impressive images of a runaway train that crashed into a building back in January. Now, a 22-year-old cleaner was on that train. Yeah. She's known simply as Sarah. Now, she was accused of actually stealing the train by the train operator. Right. Her name was cleared, but now she says that she wants to learn how to drive trains. And actually, the company...
Better than that, hopefully.
Well, hopefully better than that. The company that originally accused her of stealing the train has actually offered her a lifetime contract and says that they will train her how to drive these trains.
The idea is to keep it on the tracks, obviously, for a starter. And also in The Independent, The Independent's obviously having a bit of fun today. A bitter fight over who are the real but fake Beatles.
That's
Is
right.
That right?
It's a very bizarre story that The Independent goes into detail. Basically, there are two rival Beatle tribute acts that are actually going to court to see who has the right to recreate the band's music on stage. Now, on the one hand, you have an act called Let It Be, which is a kind of jukebox musical which is about to open on Broadway, actually. And then you have a rival Beatle production called Rain, which claims that it was the first. So they are actually suing Let It Be. Now, a lot of people say this whole thing is really absurd because how can you monopolize the right to be the only person to imitate anybody? So anyway, my advice to both of them, and I'm going to be very cheesy using Beatles lyrics, is come together, let it be, all you need is love.
We can only imagine which one of those is right, Flo. We're as bad as each other, aren't we? Flo, thanks very much. Flo with the international papers and a few Beatles puns on France 24. That's all from us, you'll be glad to know. Latest news headlines are coming up very shortly on France 24, so don't go away.